if people are clicking your video but leaving almost immediately, then your thumbnail may not be the problem. The problem may be what happens after the click, especially in your first 30 seconds. And in this video, I'm going to show you the 3 checks that I use to find out exactly where an opening is going wrong. So by the end of the video, you'll know what to change before your next upload. And you'll know that instead of guessing. The real problem, what is the real problem? Well, it's getting somebody to click. That's only the first job. You've made the title and you've created the thumbnail and someone sees it. There's something about it that grabs their interest enough so that they will click, and all that is good. But now another job begins. The video has to prove itself very quickly that the viewer made the right decision in clicking on your video. And this is where a lot of small creators, they can lose people. Now, they don't lose them because the video is necessarily bad. No. And not because the creator isn't interesting. No. And not automatically because YouTube has stopped recommending the video. So no. Sometimes the problem is much simpler. The title and the thumbnail promised one experience and the opening started somewhere else. The title is Promise Matching Card. You'll see this on the side of me. So this is the check 1, promise match. So this is the first check. The first check is to ask yourself, did my video start where my title and thumbnail finished? Now, let me give you a simple example. Imagine your title, it says, why viewers leave your videos early. That's what you've got. And your thumbnail, it will say, losing them. So the viewer clicks because they want to know why people are leaving. But then the video begins like this. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Margaret and today we're going to be talking about YouTube retention. But before we begin, I want to tell you a little bit about why retention is important. So, nothing there is terrible, but the viewer hasn't received the thing that they click for. Are you with me? They're waiting. and they're waiting. And online, waiting feels so much longer than we actually think. So the better opening would be closer to if people are clicking your videos but leaving almost immediately. The problem may be in your first 30 seconds. Now, we've continued the promise, haven't we? The title says people are leaving, and then the opening says here's where the problem may be, and the viewer hasn't had to translate anything. It's just hit them. They haven't had to wonder anything. They're not saying to themselves, is this actually the video that I clicked? That's what you call the promise match. And I want you to remember this, please. Your first sentence, it doesn't need to be dramatic. It needs to be relevant, and that is far more important. So the second check is, how long does the viewer have to wait before the useful part starts? This is where introductions, well, they can become dangerous. I'm not saying that you can never say hello, no. And I'm not saying personality doesn't matter, because it can. You know, it absolutely does. But ask yourself this question. Does the viewer have to sit through my introduction before I begin solving their problem? Because if they do, you've created a delay between the click and a delay between the value, and every unnecessary delay gives the viewer another opportunity to leave. So think about the first 30 seconds as a promise preview. The viewer should quickly understand. They should understand what problem we're solving, where we're taking them, and why staying will be worthwhile. So those three things. You don't need to give away the whole video, but you should start giving them an experience that they clicked for. Let me think of an example. So if your video promises a thumbnail fix. So you show the thumbnail early, and if your video promises an analytical diagnosis, you would show the analytical problem early. If you're teaching a process, you would start the process. Don't spend the opening describing what you're eventually going to do. You start by doing it, so you just do it. There's a big difference between saying, in this video I'm going to explain 3 things, blah de blah de blah, that may help improve your attention, and saying, If people leave in the first 30 seconds, first check whether your opening actually delivers what your title promised. See? The second version, it's already begun the lesson. Now that is what I mean by value starts now. Quick self-check. So here's a quick test that you can do. Play your own video from the beginning and ask yourself a question. Ask yourself, if I know nothing about this channel, would I understand within a few seconds why I should stay? Food for thought. Not, do I like this introduction? Not, oh, does this look professional? Ask, has the video started doing the job that I click for? That's a much better question. So we're looking at check 3, which is why should they stay? Now the third check, this is the one that I think it gets missed quite often. The viewer needs a reason to believe that by staying it will be worth their time, and it's not hype, it's not a fake promise, it's a reason. And by the end of your first 30 seconds, the viewer, well, they should have a fairly clear answer to 3 questions. What are we fixing? What am I going to get? And why should I keep watching? Let's use this video itself. The problem is people click, then they leave. So what are you going to get? 3 checks for diagnosing the opening. So why keep watching? Well, because by the end, you should know exactly what to change before your next upload. That's the complete promise. If one of those pieces is missing, well, the viewer may not understand where the video is going. It's like an incomplete jigsaw, and it confuses viewers. And so when a viewer is confused, they very rarely wait around waiting for clarification. They go and they click on to something else. So that's why I don't think the answer is simply, I don't think it simply makes your hook more exciting. Sometimes that the hook isn't the real problem. Sometimes the problem is that the opening and the package are talking about 2 different things. The wrong way to fix retention. Right, so this is where creators can make another mistake. They see retention falling and immediately start to think, I need faster editing, I need more cuts, I need captions everywhere. I need louder music. I need to be more energetic. Maybe, but not necessarily. If the viewer clicked, they clicked because you promised one thing and then you deliver something else. Faster editing doesn't repair that, does it? You've simply made the wrong opening move faster. That's why I would diagnose the promise before changing the production, the way you create it. Always ask, is this a pacing problem or a promise problem? They're not the same thing. No, they're different. How to diagnose your own opening. Now here's the audit that I do, or I would do before your next upload. Take your title, so you've got your title, write down the exact viewer problem that it promises to solve, and then look at your thumbnail. So you look at the one and you look at the other and you write down what the thumbnail adds to that promise. Now, play your first 30 seconds. Don't watch it as the creator. Watch it as somebody who's never seen you before. And then check 3 things. The number one thing that you check is, did I acknowledge the same problem immediately? Number 2, did I start delivering useful information or the promised experience quickly? And number 3 would be, did I make it clear where this video is taking the viewer? Now, if all these 3 are present, you have a much stronger opening. If one is missing, then you've found something worth testing. And notice what we've done here. We haven't blamed YouTube. No. We haven't blamed the algorithm. And we haven't immediately changed the thumbnail. We have identified a specific part of the viewer journey that we can actually control. Now that's much more useful. A real world example. Let's say you're making a video. Let's call it high CTR but low views. Now here's what may be wrong. Your thumbnail, it gets people to click, and that's good. Now imagine the first 30 seconds are spent explaining what CTR means. Now that might be useful later, but someone who clicked because, well, they're already worried about high CTR and low views, they probably want the diagnosis first. So a stronger opening, it might be, if your CTR looks good, but YouTube still isn't giving the video much reach, the problem may not be the click at all. It may be who is clicking and what happens after they arrive. Now, the viewer immediately understands we're solving the exact problem that they clicked for. And then you can explain the analytics. And again, start where the viewer is. Start where the viewer is, not where your lesson plan begins. That's good advice. The bigger lesson, this is actually bigger than retention. Your title, your thumbnail, your opening, your middle, and your ending, your conclusion, they're not separate bits of a video. They're one viewer journey. The title makes a promise, and the thumbnail, it strengthens or it clarifies that promise. The opening confirms it, and the middle, it delivers it. And when we come to the conclusion or the ending, it should leave the viewer feeling that clicking your video was worthwhile. If any part breaks that chain, then you create friction. And for smaller channels, we can't afford much unnecessary friction. We need to make it as easy as possible for the right viewer to understand. This video is for me. This is what I came for. This is what they're saying. And it's worth staying. So we want to capture them. So that's what they think when they watch the videos. So before your next upload, I want you to do just one simple thing. Play only the first 30 seconds, nothing else. And then answer these 3 questions after you've viewed the first 30 seconds. Did I match the promise? Did the value start quickly? And did I give the viewer a reason to stay? If the answer is yes to all 3, leave it alone. It's fine. Don't keep rewriting a good opening just because somebody online told you every video needs more aggressive hooks. No. But if one of those answers is no, well, fix it. Fix that specific problem. It's a controlled change. And controlled changes teach you far more than changing 5 things at once. So card 6, why we test one thing. This is really, really important. If you change your title and your thumbnail, your opening, your editing, you know, the style that you use, and your video lengths. If you do this all at the same time, then even in the next video, if that performs better, you won't know why. It's a process of elimination. Change the thing that the evidence points to, and then measure what happens. And that's how you build a channel deliberately. And that's the approach that we're using here on Behind the Upload. Not guessing, not chasing every piece of advice. Look at the viewer's journey. Find the restriction, change the restriction, and then measure. So, if people are clicking your videos but leaving early, don't immediately assume the thumbnail failed. Check what happens after the click. Does the opening match the promise? Does the value begin quickly? And does the viewer understand why staying will be worth their time? Those 3 questions can tell you an enormous amount. And if you want to go one step further, the next thing that I would look at is the complete viewer promise. So that would be looking at it from the title and the thumbnail all the way through, from start to finish of the video. Because a strong opening can get somebody through the first 30 seconds. But the rest of the video, it still has to keep the promise. I'll show you how to check that in the next video. So I'll see you there, and thank you for joining today.